I mean, I meet a guy who I'm madly in love with, and I can't even be with him half the time because of the dogs.
This is a common situation when couples get together and they both have dogs. And of course, they get along really well, like the humans, so they just assume that because they love each other and they get along, that their dogs will just naturally get along. And unfortunately, what happens is they forget that there was a courtship that happened between the couple. It took time. They didn't just all of a sudden walk into somebody's house and say, okay, that's it, we're a couple now. They went for dinner, they bought each other coffees, they went for long walks, they bonded, and eventually over time, they grew together. But this happens because we've given ourselves time to get to know each other. And when we finally decide that we're a good fit, we move on to the next step. What's happened in this case, and what happens a lot of the times, is the dogs were never given that same opportunity, that same level of courtship. They were just thrown into a yard and said, here, yeah, you guys will get along fine. I'm just going to go on in my relationship, and you guys go on with your relationship. But dogs are territorial. Actually, so are humans. So if we don't give our dogs enough time to acclimate, to get used to each other first, and then we just throw them into a yard together, it's pretty much a guarantee that there's going to be an argument. There's going to be some growing pains. And if those growing pains aren't addressed, they can turn out to an all-out war, which is what's happened in this case. So before I go too far into this, I just want to explain that, as I do with all my videos, I'll be stopping very frequently, explaining what I see, and discussing the techniques that Cesar's using, breaking them down, and going from there. This isn't about watching the whole episode from start to finish. That's not what this channel is about. This channel is about decoding the dog, understanding the methods being used, and growing together as dog lovers and animal behaviorists. So let's move on. Without further ado, I'm going to hit play and let's get into it.
Well, Cesar, we really have a problem at this point. We met like 5 months ago, and we've really been dating the last 3 months. And one of the reasons I met him on the internet, and one of the reasons I really liked him is I said, this guy likes dogs. Long and short.
Right there. He's a winner. If he likes dogs, there you go. He's got my vote of approval. This couple is, I just want to say this couple is adorable. I love them. I love their energy. I love even though they're stressed about this, they've still got some humor, which is great. That's half the battle right there. So anyways, yeah, I just wanted to say that.
That we start dating, we get our dogs together. Biggest mistake we ever made. They're ready to kill each other 2 seconds into seeing each other.
So I just want to stop right here. Let's just look at the body language of these two dogs. They're on really tense leashes. There's absolutely no relaxation here. They're both at the end of their lines, and they're both lunging at each other. There's a few things. I know that this isn't their first introduction, but right off the bat, as soon as you put a muzzle on a dog and introduce it to another dog, the dog that's wearing the muzzle is going to feel very vulnerable, and so he's going to come out even stronger in most cases because he feels like he can't defend himself. A dog's really their only motive of defense is their mouth, so when you take that away, it makes them feel very vulnerable. So they come across as being even more dominant. And then this guy over here, same thing. I mean, he's looking at this dog, and he can see that feels already like he can dominate him because he's coming with he doesn't know with a muzzle, but he knows that he can't use his mouth, right? He's not actually being able to open the mouth and arr, arr, arr. So he already feels like he's one step ahead of the white dog here. And I'm not sure whose yard this is. I'm assuming it's the tan dog's yard, but this is not the place to introduce two dogs. You never, ever, ever, ever want to introduce two dogs anywhere other than a neutral place. And I always suggest taking them for a walk, go to a park, ideally a park that either dog has been to before, even just walk around the block, but choose a different neighborhood. Don't walk the same block that your dog sees as his own. We want it to be as neutral as possible. So right off the bat, they've taken these dogs, they've put them in one dog's territory, they've muzzled one dog. there's a lot going on here.
And it's hurting their relationship because I can never see him more than 2 or 3 hours. He has to run home to ISIS. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I said, it's me or the dog.
Yeah, I bonded with the dog. I had the dog longer than I've been dating her.
Oh man, I love this guy. This is awesome. What a great attitude. You know, he's had the dog for years. He's known this woman for 5 months, right? Of course he's going to pick his dog over the woman. I love him. He's great. But again, it all comes down to, this is actually a very basic case. It really is. They just need to reset how these dogs are introduced, and there needs to be some ground rules, right? Whoever's dog owns that property in his mind needs to feel like, you know, this is a guest, I'm inviting this guest in. How would you feel? Just take the dogs out of it for a sec. I've said this in other videos. How would you feel if I walked into your home right now, I didn't introduce myself, I just started, you know, rifling through your drawers, trying on your clothes, maybe peeing on your furniture? You'd be getting pretty frustrated, right? You'd probably kick me out, if not worse. Well, that's how these dogs feel when we introduce a strange dog onto the property of another dog. If there's no respect, if there's no ground rules first, that other dog can feel really insecure and downright frustrated, right? It's the exact same scenario.
That if they're not in a balanced state of mind, they don't care about killing a cat, a dog, a kid, or a human, period. Because they don't have this understanding of, if I hurt or kill somebody, other people are going to get hurt.
I'm not sure if it was Cesar Millan. I just heard this the other day in a video, and it really clicked for me. I wish I could remember which video it was, but whatever it was, the person said, you know, a dog doesn't feel bad when it's sitting there eating a carcass. He's not sitting there thinking, you know, oh, this dog or this animal that I just killed has a family and a wife and, you know, a car payment, right? That's not what they're thinking. There's no guilt involved in it. It's strictly a primal instinct to kill and eat. And yet, you know, I love that they brought that up, because it makes so much sense. Yet a lot of times when our dogs get in a fight, or they kill another pet or whatever, we take it personal. We think they did it to get back at us, or because they're upset, and really it's not. It's just a primal instinct to them, and they don't carry that guilt the way we do. Doesn't mean they don't care about us. They do, but they care about us in a much more primal way. So anyways, I just thought I'd bring that up. You know what? Before I go any further, I should have brought this up a couple minutes ago. I do want to stop here for a sec. I am going to explain about my collar placement, just because we just saw in the last shot there where the dogs were lunging at each other, and what I want to point out is that the collar was on both the dogs were slipped way down, so they were down here in the choke zone instead of being up here on the communication zone. So I'm going to take 2 seconds here, well, okay, 3 minutes, because that's how long the video is. I'm going to put that in here, and then I'm going to come back and we'll keep going on. So here we go.
Very often you'll hear me talk about, oh, the leash is too low, the leash keeps falling, or the owner's using the pinch collar in the wrong place, or the whatever this collar. It doesn't matter what collar, whether it's a slip leash, a choke chain, a flat collar, a prong collar. It really doesn't matter, okay? Here's the difference. If the collar is in what I call the communication zone, which is up here where the blue is, I've labeled it communication zone right here. This is where we want our collars to be. As soon as they start to migrate down, the further down they get towards this red zone here, the less control you're going to have, the less communication you're going to be able to have with your dog. It's just, and this is what happens. As you're walking, this collar will just naturally start to migrate down. That's normal. Our job is to just get in the habit of very gently reaching up and repositioning it. That's all there is to it. What I tend to see is the collars way down here. Usually they're just kind of sitting along this, almost the shoulder bone here. But what we don't want is here. Okay, there's no communication here for us. The dogs are not going to hear. And in fact, the further this goes down, the closer it gets to the shoulder, the more power a dog has.
All right, so now that you've watched the video, I've already explained what it's about. I'm just going to hit play and we're going to keep going here.
To introduce two aggressive dogs or two dogs who have antisocial behavior. And when you put two dogs together, it's best if they move forward instead of facing each other. That's how boxing gets, you know.
It's the same concept as staring each other down. Everybody knows you don't stare a dog down. You don't make eye contact, right? That's a pretty common thing that people believe. There are times where you can, but it is a dominant position. And it's the exact same thing. When two dogs meet, you've seen this in other of my videos, one dog will always turn his head or turn his shoulders a bit because they don't want to meet head on. That's a very confrontational way to meet. You want dogs to meet side by side or a little bit off. You don't want them going nose to nose. And this is why I suggest, I know Cesar suggests it too, one of the best ways to introduce two dogs is walking, because they're walking sideways. They're side to side instead of nose to nose.
Gladiator, they have to be in eye contact. Without the eye contact, there's no fight.
Yes.
You see it? They can do this, but they're going to get tired and then eventually surrender. So the ideal way of introducing dogs, they live in different homes, especially when they're not raised together.
It's not necessarily that the dogs get tired of doing the side eye. They eventually, what happens is as they're walking and they're both giving each other the side eye, they realize that the other one isn't a threat, that he's just moving forward. And so as soon as there's no threat and there's no need to protect anything, they really have no desire. Dogs don't naturally desire to fight. They naturally desire to be balanced. So as long as the other dog's not challenging, not doing anything, they just end up going, okay, well, I guess we're just walking. And they start, that's how they get into the bond, is through that motion of walking and sniffing and peeing and pooping and doing all of those things that they naturally do on a walk. That's how dogs bond.
Is to walk them together without seeing each other first. Mm-hmm. They're next to each other, but they're not looking at each other.
Yes.
Until you lower the level of energy, slowly you bring the dog who's much submissive to the other dog. So we're making the dominant dogs submissive just by us bringing the submissive dog towards her. So the human has to be the one who's controlling the orchestra.
I think there was a language barrier there, so it got a bit confusing. So just to kind of break it down, the goal is we want to make it as less friction-wise as possible here. So obviously what we're going to do is if we take the dominant dog and bring it over to the submissive dog, it's going to empower the dominant dog. Well, the dominant dog's already empowered. So what we want to do is bring the submissive dog to the dominant dog so that the submissive dog feels our guidance and can feel a little bit more confident knowing that it's got us there leading it. And so it won't be, the idea is that it won't be as scared. And because again, dogs smell fear. They smell that chemical, and they don't just smell it in humans, they smell it in each other too. We want to bring that dog that they've just been walking together, they've got a bit of a rhythm going. Now we're going to take the submissive dog and allow the submissive dog to approach the dominant dog, but we're going to do it in a very controlled way, so that way there's no room for miscommunication. There's no room for the dominant dog to overtake the submissive dog, and there's no room for the submissive dog to become more fearful and bring on a fight. It's what Cesar's saying about the human needs to control the orchestra here. We want to be the ones planning each step so that we can make sure that the dogs are meeting on equal footing. That's really what we want here, is to try to equalize the footing. So we don't have a dominant dog coming in and overwhelming a submissive dog, and we don't have a submissive dog coming in with that scared energy and triggering a fight.
Both of them don't have good social skills. They're okay with males, but they're not okay with females. That's why dogs in America are unstable, because people treat them like humans.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right?
I don't want to bring this up because in a political way, but I mean, he brings up such a good point, right? You look at dogs in third world countries where, they're living on the streets and scrounging for food and begging for attention. Those dogs they're just so much better balanced, right? They don't have all of these anxiety and all of the stresses that our dogs here have. And I mean, just look at our own children, right? It's a great example of that. They're given everything. They've got the best gaming systems, the best phones, the best shoes, the best clothes. The one thing they don't have are the social skills, because they're spending more and more time, in their tiny little bubbles, and they're not interacting one-on-one with each other. And sorry, I'm tripping over my words here. It's not just happening with our dogs, it's happening with our kids and our social interactions as well. It's just that with our dogs, we're addressing it here, obviously, on the show. But I just wanted to bring that up, that it really is. It's amazing how, it seems like the easier our lives get, the less we're able to deal with just life in general. And it happens with our dogs as well.
Julie and Beryl believe the dogs are keeping them apart. That to me is not the reason.
Notice even right here, the leash is super tense. The collar, again, we just saw the video of my collar placement where it needs to be is up here, but it's way down here. So this is in the choke zone. They're not hearing anything. We're not communicating with our dogs. The only thing that they are feeling is tension on the leash. And that tension is going all the way down the leash, right down this collar, and it's basically, the signal is attack. We're basically, without even meaning to, we're telling our dog, be tense, be on guard, be ready to attack. And the dog's doing exactly what we're telling it to do here.
The reality that is keeping them up.
I also want to note, look at how this dog is staring this dog down. This dog his tail's down, her tail is down. She's in a very submissive mode right now. She's kind of tucked herself in behind the owner. I wish I could see her face. I can't, but in this clip anyways. But just looking at her tail and even her legs are very, the way that they're bent, they're quite submissive. So she's trying to become as small as she can, because she's reacting to the energy of the white dog. And look at the position of the white dog now. It's kind of hard to tell, but this tail is up. It's not way up, but it's definitely very rigid. The back end, you can see these muscles are tensed here. He's ready to go. All the way down the shoulder is very forward. That head is low, but just rigid. Right? It is locked onto this target, and it's saying loud and clear, I want to attack this target.
We need to empower somebody. We need to begin to empowering somebody. And I know that in order for us to remove red zone dog, we have to remove the source where it becomes red zone. The source of ISIS was Beryl. So once we remove him out of the picture, it was easy for us to stop.
So I see here it looks like this collar is one of the collars that Cesar came up with. If any of my viewers have actually used this collar, I would love your feedback on it. I personally have never used it. I struggle with how it would work. I think the concept is that it's going to be looser down here and maybe more tighter up here. So I think the goal is what Cesar's trying to accomplish is to solve the battle of the leash migrating down the neck, because especially with these flat-coated dogs like this, the collar, it just naturally migrates lower and lower down the neck. And so as a handler, our job is to constantly go up and keep readjusting it so it's sitting right here. But I've never actually seen it. I've only ever seen it on video. I've never seen it in real life. So if anyone's actually used it and has feedback, I would love to hear your feedback on it.
Introducing Tina and ISIS.
See, right away, I'm surprised that Cesar's doing this introduction here. I really would have rather seen them go for a walk, take them around the block or do something. I'm surprised that he's doing it here, but whatever, we'll just go with it. Notice the dog right now, that tail is tucked tight between the legs, so she's definitely insecure, but she's coming with this energy of I need to be defensive, I need to be on guard, I'm ready for whatever battle I'm walking into, because in her mind it's already on guard. It already thinks that, and that's just repetition, right? Every time it's come into the yard, it's been a battle. So of course it's going to think that it's walking into a battle. But like I said, look at that tail. It's tucked right between its legs now, and he's very, very insecure. It's very quick, but every time she tries to look over at that dog, Cesar's doing a correction. So I just want you to, I'm just going to back up again just for a second here. Let's go to 504. Just watch how every time she goes to turn her head, he goes, hey, right? Right, hey.
Yeah.
And the reason we want to do that is because we want to set it right away. We want to set the ground. No, you're not going to stare this dog down. You're going to come in with a very calm, quiet presence. We don't want you walking in like, you know, you own this joint and you're going to come in, you know, shooting bullets out of your eyes, right? And again, look at this dog, right? The tail is tucked way between her legs. She could not be more small if she tried. Like, she's really trying her best just to protect herself because she feels that energy coming at her.
Yeah, we can't.
Yeah, see, she's trying to escape. Like, this dog doesn't want any confrontation right now. It doesn't mean she won't eventually, but right now you can just tell all she wants to do is get away. She feels this energy, this negative energy, and her first instinct is to flight, right? She just wants to run.
There we go.
Because Isis is a red zone case, Cesar insists that she always has a muzzle on when she's around Tina.
I'm gonna bring her close, so she's, there we go. This way, she's gonna sense a different energy from her. Okay.
So again, staring her down. I 100% agree with Cesar that right now Tina needs to have a muzzle on because this dog has already proven that she's not just trying to dominate. Right now, she's trying to kill. So absolutely, a muzzle needs to be on right now especially in the beginning introductions, just because she has a history already. Notice that he did the correction as soon as she started, shooting that negative energy towards the other dog. Cesar went, "Hey, no, that's not what we're here for," right? So, and he's just going to keep doing that until she starts looking to him, because the goal is we want her to just to either look to him for guidance or just disengage by looking around. Just stop zeroing in on this dog. This dog means no harm to you. Look at the bushes. Go sniff the yard. Do anything other than pay any attention to this dog. That's what we want from her right now.
This is very typical.
That was good. So he did the correction, and then she kind of looked back for a second at this dog. Then she very quickly looked at Cesar and did a lip lick, which is great. She's not quite there yet, but she's showing that she has the ability to change. So that's good.
Go from dogs that have had already experience in attacking another dog and have never been blocked from the owner. So this is not a negotiation here. This is what she has.
So every time she goes to look at that other dog, Cesar's doing a correction and saying, hey, a couple seconds ago there when he first started talking, it's hard sometimes when you're trying to explain something and deal with the dog that you miss the cues. And so he did the correction in the beginning perfectly, but then he started talking, and so he lost his focus for a moment on her. She started staring, she kept staring the brown dog down, and it took about 5 or 6 seconds for Cesar to deliver another correction. Totally happens. There's no criticism at all. I'm just explaining that if he wasn't talking at that point, he could have kept her down, because what's happening is, again, maybe what I'll do, because I'm rambling now, is I want to explain my scale. In case this is your first time watching my video or any of my videos, I have a scale that I use when I'm assessing dogs. So I'm going to put that scale right here so that you can understand what I'm about to say. Okay, so I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to put that video in here. If you've seen it already, you're welcome to skip past it. But for those that haven't seen it, it is important that you see the scale. So I'll go there.
So I just want to explain my scale. This is the scale that I use when I'm assessing dogs when I go to a client's place. So level 0, they're sleeping, they're out cold, not a problem. Level 1, they're resting, they're awake, they're kind of watching what's going on. Maybe they're doing a gentle pant. Nothing, no, they're not participating. They're not following us around. They're not doing any of that. They're just laying there watching. Level 2, now they're walking around, they're sniffing, they're panting, They're playing with toys respectfully. They're still not getting in our way. They're not bugging anyone. They're with us, being part of the family. Level 3, now they're starting to get excited, okay? So now we're getting more of a fast tail wag, bodies wagging, maybe they're whining, they're attention seeking, they're taking, if you've got a dog that likes toys, he's bringing those toys, he's squeaking them really loud, or he's bringing them to you and demanding your attention. And he's unable to settle at this point. So you give him a command to go lay down or go settle down, and he just can't. Level 4, now we get into more severe problems. Right now they're jumping, maybe they're pulling on the leash, they're digging, they're chewing on objects that are on the floor, the furniture, they're starting to bark. And keep in mind that they can still do all of these other things in these other levels, right? Like you might still get whining and attention seeking, but this just means that there's more stuff going on. So they're escalating up to almost an unmanageable point now. Level 5 is where we start really seeing major problems, which is, they're destroying your furniture, your house. There's heavy panting sometimes, there's excessive barking. When you walk, they're scanning for threats. It's growling, snarling, fighting, and possibly fighting with a sibling, another dog in the house, or just overall being a little mischief maker. So that's a very simplified way to look at when I say a dog's at a 2 or a dog's at a 4. This is what I'm talking about right here. Okay, so our goal as the owners or as handlers, we want to keep our dogs between a 0 and a 2. That's the perfect zone, right? If we're out walking, we're taking them for a walk, maybe we're throwing the ball for them, they can start to get into, a 3 a little bit, but we really do want to keep, every time we start seeing our dogs start to get a little bit more excited, we want to ask ourselves, okay, what level are they at? We want to try to keep them at that level. So as soon as we start seeing them rise up, we say, knock it off and settle them back down. It's a lot easier to keep our dogs at a level 2 and correct them just as they get to a level 3 than it is to wait for our dogs to get to a level 5 and then try to get them to a level 1. It just doesn't happen. They're just too far gone at that point.
Okay. So now that we've had a chance to watch my video about my 0 to 5 scale, what he's trying to do is keep this dog, the dog's already at a 5, right? You can't get any higher zone than this as far as I'm concerned. But he's trying his best to keep her from staying at that 5. Even if he can get her down to a 4 right now, that's a win, right? We just want to get her out of that red zone state. And how he does that is by blocking her. Every time she goes to stare at the other dog in an aggressive or dominant way, he's blocking it by giving a correction. He's not just trying to get in her line of sight. That's not what he's trying to do. When I say block, he's actually giving a correction. Every time she goes to stare at that other dog, he's going, no, knock it off. So what he's trying to do is just get her. Right now, all we want to do is see if we can get her from a 5 to a 4, because she's a true red zone case. And so we just want to get it down by increments. We're never going to get her from a 5 down to a 2 where we want her right now. What we want to do is just get her to start to lower her threshold a bit.
Have to do. She can't look at her with the intentions of attacking. There we go. This is good.
See, that's amazing, right? So now the submissive dog is coming up to the dominant dog, which is perfect. This is what we want, because now every time she does this and there isn't a fight, her self-confidence is going to get a little bit better and a little bit better. And this is how the relationship changes. This has probably never been able to happen before, because as soon as they met, they were nose to nose, and it was just a attack of the gladiators instead of this calm. This is how dogs meet. They sniff each other's bums, right? So this is perfect. Notice she's still got the side eye going. She's still watching, but right now we want her to see what's going on. We don't want to blind her. We don't want her to not know this dog is sniffing her. By her observing this dog sniffing her and realizing that there's no fight, there's no attack coming, that's naturally going to help her just start to relax, because she's no longer a threat.
Hey,
and again, so that correction happened there. She went from I'm watching you, to a, well, I don't know if you could see that on the camera, but so a casual observance to a, and it's very, that's where owners get tricked up, is that subtlety that dogs have. Once you've seen it and you've witnessed it, you kind of, you know what to look for, it becomes glaring obvious. Like to us, we see it and it's like big neon signs, but to the average owner, it's very easy to miss those subtle cues, and it's those subtle cues is where the magic happens when a correction is delivered, because we're delivering the correction right as that subtlety hits, and so we're not letting it escalate, and that's why the dogs transform so quickly, because we're able to pinpoint that exact second that the dog transitions from I'm watching you to a I'm going to get you, right?
Touch that I'm doing is a bite. I am not thinking.
See, I like that. She turned, she looked, she didn't get defensive or aggressive, and then she just went right back. Cesar didn't have to, you notice Cesar didn't have to correct her that time. She looked, she was curious what's going on over there, and she said, okay, and then she turned back to Cesar. Perfect.
What she wants to do is to destroy her. When a dog wants to destroy another dog, there's no emotions. That's why it's easier for them to destroy. So
see, right there. Oh, man, I could not have stopped that at a better time. Did you see how she went from calm, kind of paying attention to, let's just, I know that other commenter showed me how to do this frame by frame, and I can't remember now how to do it. Oh my gosh. It's a good thing I'm good at training dogs, because I suck at this whole video thing. But I'm going to try here, guys. So I'm just going to go back a couple seconds. I want you guys to watch how she went from observing, paying attention, to, did you see, I want you to see her brain actually turn that switch from observing to kill.
There's no emotions. That's why it's easier for them to destroy. So what we're doing here,
you see how subtle it's subtle until you see it, right? And then once you see it, you're like, no, I saw it the whole time. Okay, let's watch one more time. God, I love dogs. Just watch. Look at it. Her eyes are kind of closed. She's kind of going into a Zen mode. So watch how quickly she turns.
there's no emotions. That's why it's easier for them to destroy. So what we're doing here is not to bring him.
So, and then Cesar does a correction. So he's doing the correction at the perfect time. That moment when she commits to going from calm, balanced to attack, aggressive, defensive, right? So he corrected her right at that millisecond when she made that decision.
Just because she attacks, she has to go on the grass. Hey. And she has to stay in the top because she's being submissive. See, this dog means no harm. This dog means harm. We have to make sure the tail is not between the leg when we're doing this exercise.
So yeah, that's really important. It's really important if you have a very nervous, timid dog and they're constantly tucking their tail, get in the habit of just gently pulling their tail out, if every time they go to tuck their tail and we just very gently massage the tail and get it to relax so that it's just laying rest naturally, that in itself can help them psychologically go from, I'm going to be attacked to feeling a little bit more relaxed. So that's really good. What he's doing is just saying, just lay here, just be with us, be calm. He's massaging the tail. He's not just pulling the tail out. He's lightly running his fingers along. He's by doing that, he's taking some of the tension off of the spine and the hips and the shoulder. So he's just doing that. It would be like you running your finger right along your spine. It just relaxes them. So he's doing that, which is awesome. I'm going to stop my video here for a sec. I want to play the alpha dominant role clip because I want you to see how dogs do this to each other all the time. This is very common. Having the pack leader or another dog teach another dog to be submissive is one of the main tools that dogs use with each other, and it's not aggressive. It's not a way, this is not a bullying thing. This is just hey, I want you to lay down. And the trick here is in the release of pressure. The magic doesn't happen when Cesar's holding the dog down. The magic happens when he releases pressure and the dog stays in this position. Belly exposed, legs up, like, hey, I'm okay. I'm not going to attack. I'm being submissive right now. This is what we want. So I'm going to stop again here real quick. I'm going to play that video and then I'm going to come back. Okay, and I just want you to see how dogs do this in real life. Not just dogs, but wolves too. So yeah.
Notice he knocks the dog down and instantly backs off. Now the dog's going to pop back up again. He's going to jump back in and make the dog lay back down. Again, knocks the dog down, does the alpha roll, and backs off right away. He's not keeping pressure on the dog. Dog lays down, he instantly moves on. You see how he did the roll? He made this wolf here roll over on its side and then instantly release the pressure. He didn't hold him down. He didn't keep him pinned down there. Rolled him over. He used his energy, his body's energy, to push the dog over. The dog instinctively retracted, laid down, rolled over in the submissive roll. And as soon as he did that, that was a signal to this guy that, okay, he's no more threat. I'm the dominant one. And he released the pressure and went back to what he was doing. That is a true alpha roll. That is what we're trying to accomplish when we actually do this with our dogs during training.
Again, I just want to point that out. So you saw how real dogs and wolves do this to each other. Notice they push them down and then they instantly get up. Cesar, he had to wait until the dog stayed down, and then as soon as the dog stayed down, he instantly took that pressure off. That's the important part. He takes the pressure off, he moves on, he starts massaging her tail. It's like, hey, you're in no danger here. Your only job right now is just relax. Just
Can't fear. I don't want her to fear. I want her to submit. So now my next step is to keep putting her next to her, because I need to make sure that the closer she is with her, the more the brain wants to attack.
Yes.
So the more the brain wants to attack, the more I have the access to block. And the more I block, the more I achieve what I want, right?
So again, this is so important to say this. A lot of times as owners, when these situations happen, we tend to want to avoid. We don't want the conflict, so we just avoid it. The problem with avoiding it is if we don't actually put ourselves and our dogs in these positions, we can never correct them. So the cycle continues. You know, it never has a chance to be taught differently, because every time that scenario happens, they either avoid it by just going opposite ways, or they are left in a position where there is an actual fight and it's not addressed. But what Cesar's saying is that we need to set our dogs up for the scenario to play through so that we can get in there and make the correction. The more times that scenario happens, the better it is for us under these controlled environments, because it gives us another opportunity to learn. That's what we want. We don't want to avoid. I know it's easy. It's easier to just avoid it, but long term it isn't, because then we live in a state of constant fear or a constant state of reactivity instead of balance. And that's what we want. We want our dogs to be balanced, and we want to be balanced. So we need to create these controlled scenarios so that we have an opportunity to practice and to correct when needed in a controlled environment.
Right there. This is really good. So what she's seeing is she's at the highest level of calm submission.
I love how this one is getting more and more confident. She's coming up now. Notice her tail, it's still very low, but it's not clenched right down to her back end, and it's just starting to just gently, not a wag yet, but it's not rigid anymore, which is what we want. And the more times that this dog gets to come over here and interact with this white dog and not get that negative energy, the higher her confidence is going to get. And that's what we want. We want this one's confidence to get a little bit higher. We want this one's dominance to get a whole lot lower. And hopefully they're going to meet somewhere in the middle.
She's not trying to harm her. Hey.
So again, she went from being laying down, relaxed, to lunge, almost to a full out lunge. And unfortunately, Cesar was distracted, so we didn't get a chance. It would have been better if he could have got her right as she was about to pop, just as she was starting to jump up, and just get her to go back down again. But I mean, it happens. I mean, even, we're all human, right? So he didn't make a mistake. He just, unfortunately, it was just a little too slow on the correction. So she had a whole chance at that point to get up and then go for the attack. I wish he would have laid her back down again. she didn't have permission to pop up like that. So I think that in that situation, if I were there, I would have actually made her go back down again. But either way, what he's doing is perfectly fine. What he's trying to do is allow her to watch, to say, hey, I don't mind you looking at this dog. I just don't want you to look with intention.
And then she goes right back into that state of mind. Hey, the dogs have to be firm because she's definitely projecting, I want to kill you right now. That's it. Want nothing to do. I don't want to smell you. I don't want to, play with you. I just want...
Yeah, I should point that out. You notice throughout all of this so far, she has not once tried to use her nose and just smell this dog. Like, she went in from the moment Cesar brought her into this yard, she went in to this dog's yard with the intention of killing. And I just want you to stop and think about that for a second, because this isn't even her yard, right? This isn't White Dog's yard. This is this dog's yard. And she's coming in with this attitude like, I don't care if this is your place. I'm going to rip you to shreds. I don't even want to get to know you. So what Cesar's dealing with isn't just, I need to introduce two dogs. He needs to change the white dog's total mentality about this white dog.
She's pulling her around. There we go. This is good. So Tina, because
she's so rigid right now. I don't understand why he's doing this in the yard. I really don't think this is a good spot to be introducing them. I think it would have been way more effective outside. Go for a walk first, let them bond a bit outside on a walk and then bring them to the state. But I guess for TV, that's what they're doing. Again, though, just the body language, right? She is so shut down. She has a big wall up right now that says, I don't care who you are. I don't want to get to know you. I just want to kill you. And this one, I love her attitude. Her energy already is shifting to almost a playful, hey, let's just be friends. Come on, we can do this. I don't care what you did to me earlier. Let's just be friends. She's coming with a very gentle, very fun approach, which is great. Yeah.
she's having such a great energy and such a great behavior, we are making her the role model.
Again, see how she's turning her whole body away from this dog. What she's telling this dog is, here's my white flag. I'm waving it right in front of you. By her turning her body like that, she is saying in very no uncertain term, I mean you no harm. That's not what I want. I don't want to fight with you. And even though she's doing this girl is still locked and loaded, ready to go.
Girl here cannot look at Tina 1 second because her intention is still to kill Tina. I'm not trying to favor Tina. Yes. I'm just giving Tina that attention because she's in the state of mind that we want.
See, and this is where pet owners end up getting mistaken because they feel bad for this. Like, see this face and they feel guilty, or they feel like, oh my God, look at her, she's so upset. And so they go in and they pet her, or they hug her, or they even just talk to her and, oh, it's okay, baby, you're okay. And unfortunately, when we do that, we're rewarding that negative headspace. Right? Right now, she is just in 100% alpha dominant mode right now. That's all she cares about is killing that other dog. That's it. So if we pet her right now, we're basically saying you're right to feel that way. That's what you need to be. That's where you need to be. And when we come in there feeling guilty about it, that amplifies it even more. It's like putting a magnifying glass on her emotion already and rewarding that. So the best thing you can do in that case is just ignore that, love on the other dog, give the other dog, because the other dog's being perfect. We want to reward that. So that this dog looks at the other dog and says, well, I want that too. And that's what we want. We want to get her to say, to just open that curiosity loop and say, well, what do I have to do to get that? Then we can reward that, because then now her mind has changed.
I strongly believe that the best thing for us to create a better relationship is doing the walk. Dogs walk every day. Dogs become partners or become team by walking. They need somebody with experience right now to keep them in that state of mind that is important to be in.
You notice how this whole time that they're walking, White Dog is totally relaxed. She's more in a curious mindset now. She's, she's still scanning around. She's still looking for things, but she's not zeroed in on this dog anymore. This dog is now almost becoming a part of her pack. on this walk, because now she's scanning for other dangers, other threats. She no longer sees this dog right now as a threat. So she becomes almost a partner in crime, which is good. We want her to start to associate this dog with more positive things. And you get that through walking forward.
Whatever comes automatically to you, as long as you stay in the zone.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't like this, and I'll tell you why. Because right now there is separation between the two dogs, and she's smack dab in the middle. The goal right now is to get these two dogs to see each other as a little mini pack, and the owner is the leader of the pack. But right now, by her being in the middle, these two are basically forced to avoid each other. They can just pretend like each other's not there, and that's not going to help them bond. We need these two right now to bond. I do understand why Cesar wants the owner, especially the woman, to walk these two dogs, but I just wish that she would take them and have them, like Cesar was doing, walking side by side together instead of having her in the middle.
Okay. Yeah, just lower your arms more in a relaxed manner. So this is an exercise. They're in front of you, which is really bad, but at least they're not going after each other.
Yes.
See, look at how relaxed she is now compared to how she was in the yard. That's why I said I wish they had started this with these two doing a walk first, because that would have made the whole yard thing less intense. Unfortunately, that doesn't make good TV. What makes good TV is two dogs trying to kill each other. So I understand why they did it. I just, in a perfect world, they should have walked first and then gone to the yard second.
What would be the ideal way to introducing them? Like travel for a long period of.
I like this. I just wish that there wasn't any tension on the leash. But again, these two, we're trying to deal with a bunch of things, right? Like Cesar said, yeah, they're ahead right now. They're pulling. That's not where we want them, but they're also not trying to kill each other. So that's a win. So let's deal with the most severe thing, which is them trying to kill each other. And then once they're actually getting along, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Then we can start teaching the position where to walk on a leash. So I get that, and I just wish that there was no tension. This tension on the leash on this dog, this one, it's a bit shorter. There's a little bit more slack, but he should be doing a correction right now. We don't want this tension, because that's not gonna give us the calm, gentle, balanced state that we want the dog to be in. So I guess that's it, guys. This was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I love this couple. They're great. I think the moral of the story here, what I really want to stress, is the importance of introducing dogs on neutral territory. Having them go for a walk is the number one best way to introduce two dogs. So if you're in a position like this where, even if it's not like, say, a couple moving in together or, introducing each other's dogs, maybe you're going to go to the pound and adopt a dog, or you're going to bring home a new puppy. Always introduce two dogs on a neutral territory. It will make your life a million times easier, because the dogs won't feel that need to protect what's theirs, and by walking them, you're going to allow them to develop a bond. There's no better way for two dogs to bond than through walking. So with that, guys, I hope you had a great time with this. I sure did. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. You have no idea how much it means to me every time I see a new subscription. It means the world. So until next time, keep walking those dogs, and I'll see you later. Take care. Bye.